Welcome to this full guide on mastering your attention span. Let's dive right in. This is my promise to you. After this full guide, which should take no longer than 17 minutes, you'll have everything you need to improve your attention span by at least 50%, probably more, which means that you will significantly increase your efficiency and your focus in your daily life. You'll finish tasks faster, and you'll increase your learning speed. So, why listen to me on this topic? Well, I've been exploring ways to improve my own focus and my productivity since 2020. This year, I started helping people improve their productivity and their focus through coaching, and I've gathered a set of tools and techniques that really work. They really do the job. They help a lot of people, and they helped me immensely. I'm someone who never had a naturally good attention span growing up. In fact, in middle school, my attention span got so bad, I just couldn't focus in class. All I could focus on were YouTube videos and video games. It got so bad that I actually had to do an extra year of middle school to get into high school. These days, though, I really have no problem doing deep work, focusing for long periods of time without getting distracted. In fact, here's a picture of what my typical week looks like. Okay, so let's go over the full structure of this course. First, we're going to cover the 6 attention thieves that are probably robbing you of your attention right now. Then we're going to get into the inner and outer game of focus. And finally, we'll finish off with a practical homework assignment that you can immediately apply to become more focused in your life. Quickly, I want to give credit to all the works that have helped me understand this topic on a deep level and have helped me the most in my own life, practically speaking. I recommend you check these out. I've left the link or the names of these works in the description of this video so you can check them out. A lot of the material that I'm going to cover in this course, they come from these works. So again, credit goes to them. So let's begin. Your attention is your most valuable asset because it's what directs your finite time and energy towards what ultimately shapes your whole life. So now we're going to go over the 6 big attention thieves that are probably robbing you of your ability to concentrate. Attention thief number 1, multitasking. Stop multitasking. Studies show that multitasking can actually reduce productivity by up to 40%. Constantly switching between tasks, this puts a load on our mind. It increases cognitive load and it leads to more errors in our behavior and in our work. It's not productive. It feels productive, but it's not actually productive. So stop multitasking because it's ruining your ability to focus and it's killing your attention span. Attention thief number 2, open loops. And by open loops, I simply mean unfinished tasks or unresolved thoughts that occupy your mind, which divert your attention and reduce your ability to concentrate. I have a few examples of open loops here: pending meetings, unfinished projects, unpaid bills, unmade decisions. Maybe you have homework that you haven't completed that you know there's a deadline to, and you know there's a part of your brain that's kind of fixated on it, and it's constantly consuming mental energy. So if you have open loops in your life, it's very important to tend to them and actually close them so you don't have any of these energy drainers constantly operating in the background. Attention thief number 3, neglecting rest. Now, there's been a lot of studies done on this topic, and a recent one done by Desk Time actually found that the most productive people work on average 52 minutes, after which they actually take a 17-minute, again on average, 17-minute break. A lot of us, we have this idea that we need to be grinding 10 hours a day, and only after we've focused for 10 hours can we take a little break or we can rest when we sleep, sort of thing. But turns out that the most productive people actually schedule regular breaks into their workday, and we're going to talk more about that as we go forward with this guide. But just know for now that neglecting breaks, neglecting rest in general, this is a huge attention thief. Attention thief number 4, online OCD loops. This is a term I learned from Eben Pagan. This is something that I still struggle with on occasion. And it's when, you open up your laptop and the first thing you do is you get the impulse to check your email. So you check your email. And then after that, you get another impulse to check your social media. Then you go to YouTube, you check YouTube, and then you repeat this cycle a few times. And at some point, you just kind of wake up and you realize you've just spent 30 minutes literally doing nothing. And the problem with online OCD loops is that they interrupt your focus, they lead to what's called dopamine addiction, and they cause mental exhaustion. So they're not productive, and they also very much ruin our ability to concentrate. Attention thief number 5, highly processed foods. This is a no-brainer, but if you're eating any kind of food with lots of sugar, fat, salt, you need to eliminate those from your diet as much as possible. Occasionally you can have these things. I am not perfect with this, but I will say that if your diet consists mostly of this kind of stuff, it's going to be impossible for you to focus. So this is super important. You need to fix this if it's a problem in your life. And attention thief number 6, addictions. Okay, addictions of any kind, video games, gossiping, shopping, Netflix, drugs. If you have addictions and you notice that you're doing it compulsively, you're doing something compulsively on a daily basis, you can't stop doing it, and it's clearly having a negative impact on your life, then this is a huge focus killer. You need to unhook yourself from the addiction. Okay, so those are our focus thieves. So now look at this list, and I got an exercise for you here. I want you to see if there's any item on this list that really stands out for you. Something that you can see that, yeah, this is something that's actually really draining my ability to focus. It's draining my attention. And if you see one of those things here, I want you to take a mental note, and as we go on, just keep that in mind. So now let's get into the inner game of focus. Focus mindset number 1. Focus is a capacity that grows with consistent effort. Just like if you were to try and build your bicep, you obviously need to work them. You need to go into the gym and apply resistance to them on a regular basis in order to see growth. Likewise, with focus is like a muscle that you can build. And the way you build it is by applying resistance. Which leads us to focus mindset number 2, which is to embrace resistance. Deep focus involves facing resistance. We need to learn to face resistance and to sit with the discomfort of long focus sessions. Often, long focus, deep work is uncomfortable on some level. And we need to get comfortable with this discomfort and make the resistance a part of our comfort zone. And the more we do this, the more we embrace the resistance, the discomfort of long focus sessions, the more our focus muscle will expand. Focus mindset number 3, clarity fuels focus. The clearer you are about what you're doing in any given moment and what you're ultimately working towards, what's the bigger picture, the easier it'll be to direct your attention effectively. So basically, whenever you start a task or you're about to do something, it's very beneficial to begin the task by simply clarifying to yourself what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it. So now we've gone over the inner game of focus. Those were the 3 mindsets that I want you to incorporate. I want you to start thinking from those perspectives. And now let's dive into the outer game of focus. So these are the practical techniques, the external behavior changes you can make to really see an improvement in your productivity, in your attention span. Focus tactic number 1. It's very important before we go into any of the other tactics, any of the other techniques and tools, we make sure that you're getting a sufficient amount of sleep. Ideally, you want to let your body rest as long as it needs to, and if your life allows it, avoid waking up to an alarm. This was the biggest game changer for me in terms of my energy levels throughout the day. I actually ditched my alarm clock a few months ago, and I realized that my body actually wants to sleep a bit longer than what I thought it needed. And turns out my energy levels stabilized, and I'm able to maintain focus throughout the day and productivity throughout the day much better now that I'm not waking up to an alarm clock sort of artificially, right? I'm waking up naturally when my body and mind feel like it's got enough rest. Focus tactic number 2. Focus work in blocks of at least 50 minutes at a time. Okay, now I understand that if you're struggling with your attention span, with your focus, you may not be able to work in blocks of 50 minutes at a time just yet. But this is sort of the ideal. This is what you want to work towards. Right now, I work in blocks of about an hour. And then what I do is usually I'll take a break after that for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll go for another session. But the point of this is that you want to create these focus blocks into your day so that you're getting this kind of single-minded, high-quality laser focus on your highest priority, highest value tasks and activities. I highly recommend you use a timer when you work. Preferably it's a physical timer like this one. I have one at my desk that I use literally every day. I can't imagine working without one. It really helps. It really helps you mentally just give yourself to the task and avoid multitasking, which again is one of the biggest focus killers. Focus tactic number 3. Keep your meals light before and during work to prevent the after lunch mental fog. This was a big one for me, just eating lighter meals and eating just smaller portions during work makes a big difference. Focus tactic number 4, take breaks. Take clarity breaks in specific. What I mean by clarity breaks are breaks that are actually intentionally designed to help you recharge and rejuvenate mentally, emotionally, and physically. You want to take breaks that allow your brain to recharge fully. So things like napping, doing a little meditation, taking a walk, listening to some music, talking to a friend. These really help you become mentally and emotionally rejuvenated. And breaks like this, they seem really simple, and it seems like such a simple thing. It's like, okay, will that really help me focus better? Honestly, this is like the biggest game changer for me that I've kind of discovered over the last year in terms of like becoming more productive, is just taking these kinds of intentional breaks. So figure out what works for you. Like I said, these are some things that really work for me, and I recommend you try them out. Focus tactic number 5, use website blockers. Website blockers have been a big game changer for me over the last 3 years. There's this thing called attention residue. It's this idea that when you get distracted by something, even just for a moment, like let's say Instagram, you start scrolling for a few minutes as you're doing your work, and then you kind of try to pull yourself back to the work that you're doing. A part of your attention will remain and kind of linger in that distraction. And so it typically takes around 20 to 25 minutes to regain your full focus after getting distracted by something. 20 to 25 minutes. That means if you are doing work for an hour, and let's say 15 minutes in to doing your work, you get distracted by social media or a notification or something, and you check it and you maybe interact with it a bit. When you come back, it's going to take you another 25 minutes before you get back to where you were originally with your focus and your attention. That's a big loss. And if you have multiple interruptions throughout the hour of your work, then you're not getting 100% focus, 100% efficiency at all during your whole work session. So it's very important that you guard your attention by using a website blocker like this. I use Freedom. Then there's Cold Turkey. I think Cold Turkey is free. I used to use it. So we've gone over the inner game of focus, the outer game of focus, and we've talked about attention thieves. Now what I want you to do is I've got a little homework assignment for you to wrap things up here. I call it the 7-day focus workout challenge. First, I'd like you to go back to the list of attention thieves that we covered earlier. And I want you to write down the biggest culprit, the biggest attention thief in your life. And I want you to get to work eliminating it immediately. Okay, this is going to be the big leverage point for you. Next, start focusing your work in uninterrupted blocks of time of at least an hour, one high value task at a time. And again, I can't stress it enough, avoid multitasking as you do your work and avoid interruptions as much as possible. Finally, I want you to design a rejuvenating clarity break for your day. I'd say about 20 minutes is a good time for a clarity break. And once you've designed it, and I use the word design intentionally here, I want you to actually sit down with maybe a notepad and a pencil, and I want you to imagine like what would be the most rejuvenating, like emotionally and mentally and physically recharging break that you could take throughout the day, maybe a couple times throughout the day. And then I want you to get to work actually applying it and implementing it into your life. And for extra credit, start doing 10 minutes of meditation a day. Meditation is literally just a focus workout. That's what it is. If you want to increase the size of your focus muscle, then start doing 10 minutes of meditation a day, and that's already gonna make a big difference. I guarantee you the benefits are there. They've done a lot of scientific studies on that, and yeah, it works. So I recommend you start doing that. So that's it. I appreciate you a lot. Thank you so much for your time and attention. If you're interested in coaching one-on-one, I got a link in the description below. I have a program called Free Your Focus that'll help you become more productive. If you're interested in that, check it out. And yeah, that's all. Talk to you in the next one. Take care.